Dear students, after studying this module, you shall be able to know what is meant by elimination reactions. You shall be able to learn about the types of elimination reactions, that is E1 and E2. You shall be able to differentiate between these two types of elimination reactions, that is E1 and E2, with the help of mechanism. And you shall be able to perceive the factors favoring elimination over substitution. And finally, you shall be able to identify the set of conditions which are responsible for E1 or E2 mechanism, which will help you tell that whether this particular reaction will be going via the E1 or the E2 mechanism. So, let us begin with knowing what are elimination reactions. As is clearly evident from the term elimination reaction, these are the organic chemical reactions in which a pair of atoms or group of atoms are removed or eliminated from a molecule, usually through the action of acids, bases or metals, and in some cases by heating to a high temperature. In most organic elimination reactions, at least one hydrogen is lost from the unsaturated bond, and it is one of the main methods used for the formation of unsaturated compounds, that is alkene or alkynes, from the substrates which contain single carbon-carbon bonds, that is the saturated compounds. Elimination may be considered as the reverse of an addition reaction. You are already familiar with the addition reaction where the double bonds add the reagent and they get converted to single. So, in elimination it is the other way around, the single bonds you are eliminating some groups or atoms and thereby you are getting the double bond or triple bond. Now, as you can see in this equation, the tertiary butyl bromide, when it is reacted with OH minus as the base, it undergoes elimination of H and Br, and as a result you have the formation of the double bond, and that is you are getting this isobutene. Based on the position of the leaving group, these may be classified as alpha eliminations, beta eliminations, that is 1,2 elimination, 1,3 eliminations, and so on till 1n elimination. But out of these, the most commonly encountered ones are the beta elimination, that is 1,2 elimination, in which a leaving group from alpha carbon and a proton from the beta carbon are eliminated. Alpha eliminations, on the other hand, they generate carbenes, which are unstable divalent carbon species useful for many reactions, and we will not treat them in detail here. But you already know, as you can see from this equation, that in the case of alpha elimination, X and H will be removed from the same carbon, that is alpha, and you get the carbene as a result. On the other hand, for beta elimination, as you can see in this equation, the X is getting eliminated from alpha carbon and hydrogen is getting eliminated from beta carbon, and as a result you have the double bond in between the original alpha and the beta carbon, and this is what is the beta elimination. Continuing further, if you carry out the 1,3 elimination, that is the leaving group from one position and relative third position the hydrogen goes out, then that is what is the gamma elimination or 1,3 elimination, and in this case you will be getting the cyclopropane type of molecules. Note that when you are getting this cyclopropane type of derivative, a ring is equivalent to a double bond. Now, moving further, the common organic substrates that undergo beta elimination reactions are alkyl halides and alcohols. And these elimination reactions, let us consider some of the examples are, first of all, let us take the example of dehydrohalogenation of alkyl halides by base. This you are already aware earlier also, that when you take the help of alcoholic base, there will be removal of H and X and you will be getting the corresponding double bond. The next example is the dehydration of alcohol by use of acid, that is when you treat alcohols with the help of Kong's acid, so like sulfuric acid, there will be formation of double bond by the elimination of water molecule OH from the alpha and hydrogen from the beta carbon, and you get the double bond. The next example which you can see is the Hofmann degradation of quaternary amines by heat. So, here we are not taking any acid or base, but heat is doing the elimination. So, starting with the tetra alkyl ammonium hydroxides, when they are heated, there is removal of the tertiary amine, that is R3N, and also the removal of water. Here the OH minus takes out the hydrogen from this beta position. So, overall you can see there is a removal of NR3 and removal of H and OH as water, and you are having this also as the example of beta elimination. At least one hydrogen atom on the beta carbon is a prerequisite for these type of eliminations to occur. Further, two factors that provide an impetus for successful elimination reactions are: the first one is the stability of the unsaturated product which is getting formed, and second is the relief from the steric strain in the substrate molecule. Now, to demonstrate this, let us consider a substrate that has more branching at the beta carbon and may be substituted at alpha carbon as well. Now, this substrate will produce a substituted olefin, which in turn is stabilized by hyperconjugation and hence favor elimination. Similarly, tertiary halides, they favor elimination than secondary or primary, with the order, that is tertiary will be most reactive, followed by secondary, followed by primary. Now, this can also be explained in terms of bond angles of the substrate, that is the sp3 hybridization, they have 109.5 degrees orientation, and that of the product, that is olefin, is 120 degrees, that is you have the carbons which have now become sp2 hybridized. Now, coming next to the mechanisms of elimination reactions. Like the nucleophilic substitution reactions, elimination reactions can also proceed by either unimolecular or bimolecular mechanisms and have been designated respectively as E1 or E2, just like SN1 and SN2 reaction mechanisms. E1 we mean it is unimolecular elimination, and E2 stands for the bimolecular elimination. Let us discuss them in more detail. Let us first consider the E1 mechanism. In this type of elimination, the rate of reaction is first order and is dependent solely on the concentration of the substrate. As you can see in this equation shown here, rate of reaction is given by K multiplied by the concentration of the substrate. So, here K is the rate constant and R is the substrate. For elimination to occur by the E1 mechanism, the reactant first undergoes unimolecular ionization and forms a carbocation intermediate without the involvement of any base. This step is slow and rate determining and is analogous to the rate determining step in the SN1 mechanism. The leaving group leaves in this step and the elimination is then completed by rapid removal of a beta proton. So, what you can see as shown in the two steps in these equations here. First step is the slow, where the X minus is lost and you get the carbocation, and in the second step the beta hydrogen is removed and you get the formation of alkene, and this is the fast step. So, out of these two steps, that is the step 1 which is slow and the step 2 which is fast, obviously the rate determining step is the slowest step, that is the first step, and that is why the rate is given by K times the concentration of this substrate. Let us consider an example of tertiary butyl bromide undergoing elimination via E1 and as a result forming the 2-methyl prop-1-ene in basic medium. Now, in this case, the first step is the slow step. As you can see here, the removal of Br minus takes place, and notice that the first step is taking place in the presence of solvents and the basic condition which is present, and this polar solvent will be helping stabilize this carbocation and the negatively charged nucleophile which is getting formed. So, polar solvents, which we will discuss later also, you can notice they will be helping in making this slow step faster. And after this first step, where you have the formation of this carbocation, the tertiary butyl carbocation, the next step is this tertiary butyl carbocation, you can see, is joined to 3 beta carbons, and correspondingly further there are 9 beta hydrogens. So, any of these beta hydrogens can be taken out by this OH minus acting as a base, and this is a very fast step, and you get the corresponding alkene. Similarly, if we consider the case of tertiary butanol will undergo similar even mechanism, but that will be acid catalyzed dehydration. In this mechanism, you can see here that sulfuric acid is dissociating into H plus HSO4 minus. So, H plus will be attacking first, and later on we will see the HSO4 minus will be helping in the deprotonation. So, what happens in the mechanism is, starting with this tertiary butanol, you can see in this equation, it is attacked by H plus which attacks on OH, there is a formation of OH2 plus, this water will be going out, and this is the slow step. So, you can see that this is the first step of even giving you the formation of this carbocation, and in the next step, once this tertiary butyl carbocation is formed, HSO4 minus acts as the base, and it will take out the beta proton and give you the corresponding alkene, that is 2-methyl prop-1-ene. Furthermore, for tertiary alcohols, dilute acids and even lower temperatures are sufficient to effect dehydration. However, if we consider the secondary alcohols and the primary alcohols, they require higher temperature and concentration of the acid, which can be explained on the basis of the stability of generated carbocations. You already know that out of tertiary, secondary and primary carbocations, the tertiary carbocations are more stable, and that is why they will require less energy for their formation, and they become faster as compared to the secondary and primary. So, as a result, for tertiary you can do the reaction with mild conditions, but for secondary and primary you have to have higher temperature and higher concentration of acid or base that you are using. The intermediate carbonium ion or the carbocation may not only eliminate, but may also add a nucleophile to give a substitution product via SN1. Notice that the first step of E1 and SN1 are same, and that is why there is a competition between E1 and SN1 which comes into play, and we will be discussing about this later. Now, let us look at the E2 mechanism. The E2 or the bimolecular elimination mechanism, as the name suggests, has the reaction kinetics which is bimolecular. The rate of the reaction is second order and is dependent upon the substrate as well as the base or the acid that you have used for elimination. And the E2 mechanism is very similar to the SN2 mechanism. The only difference is there, in case of SN2 you are carrying out the substitution, and in E2 it is the elimination which will be done. So, in case of E2, the rate is given by K times the concentration of the substrate and multiplied by the concentration of the base, and notice that it is raised to power only 1 for both the cases, and 1 plus 1 the order of the reaction is 2, and the molecularity is also 2, and that is why the name it is bimolecular elimination mechanism. Considering the example of E2 elimination of an alkyl halide, let us consider this particular general reaction as is shown here. The reaction occurs here in a single step in which both the groups, that is the proton and the leaving group, are eliminated simultaneously. The base abstracts a proton from the beta carbon and the leaving group departs at the same time from the alpha carbon. The CX and beta carbon hydrogen bonds are coplanar in the transition state and the two leaving groups must be in trans relationship for undergoing E2 elimination and subsequent formation of CC double bond. That is, you must have the anti-periplanar transition state. So, you can clearly see here the base abstracting this proton which is beta to the X, and as the base is abstracting these protons, there will be transference of these electrons on the CC bond giving rise to the double bond, and simultaneously the X minus goes out and there is a formation of the alkene. So, this is a single step mechanism very similar to the SN2. The energy diagram for E2 elimination can be visualized as shown here. The process, as we have discussed, is concerted and the transition state is less well defined than the corresponding SN2 transition state, and there is a simultaneous bond breaking and formation which is taking place. So, you can notice in this energy diagram that starting from reactants, we have there is activation energy required to reach this transition state where there is simultaneous removal of H, the beta hydrogen, and X from alpha carbon, and as a result you will be getting the product which is alkene. Now, moving further, let us do the comparison between E1 and E2 elimination mechanisms. An elimination reaction may follow E1 or E2 mechanism depending upon several factors. Often a reaction may proceed in either of the two pathways subject to the reaction conditions employed. And these factors we will discuss one by one. They are base, that is the nature of the base, whether it is the strong or the weak, the nature of the substrate, that is whether it is a primary or secondary or tertiary, the nature of the solvent, whether it is polar solvent or non-polar solvent, the nature of leaving group, that how whether it is a better leaving group or a poor leaving group, that also will have the impact on whether the route taken will be either E2 or E1. So, let us first consider the effect of the nature of base. Now, from the rate equation for E2 mechanism, it becomes clear that as the concentration of the base is increased, the rate of E2 elimination will also increase. On the contrary, for E1 elimination, the base term is not there in the rate. So, there is no effect of any weak or strong base or its concentration. Thus, out of E1 and E2, the E2 elimination is favored over E1 by stronger and more concentrated bases. However, one needs to understand that though E1 reaction has no effect on base as exemplified or depicted by the rate equation, it still requires a stronger base which should be a weaker nucleophile to eliminate the SN1 path, because recall SN1 and E1 they have the same first step. Now, coming to the next factor, that is the nature of substrate. Since E1 elimination requires the formation of a stable carbocation, hence the presence of electron releasing groups, that is they stabilize the positive charge in the carbocation intermediate, will lead to the reaction to the E1 route, and the tertiary substrates are the most favorable ones for E1 reaction. For example, secondary alkyl halides may eliminate by E1, while primary alkyl halides may eliminate only by E2, because the primary carbocation required for the formation of E1 would be too unstable. Now, the next factor is the nature of the solvent. E1 elimination requires an ionizing solvent, which eventually aids in the formation and stabilization of the formed carbocation intermediate in the first step. Hence, polar protic solvents like water, methanol, etc. favor elimination via the even route. On the other hand, E2 elimination can occur in less polar solvents, but their rate is increased by use of polar aprotic solvents like DMSO, DMF, etc. The fourth factor is the nature of the leaving group. Both E1 and E2 are possible in substrates possessing a good leaving group, but other factors as already discussed actually shape the way in which a given elimination will proceed. For example, consider the two Hofmann eliminations as they are depicted in these equations A and B. In the first case, a strong base is used to effect elimination, and since a stabilized cation cannot be formed here, hence the reaction takes place by the E2 mechanism. However, in the second case, that is B, the formation of a tertiary cation is possible through the removal of the leaving group, and as base is not present, it definitely goes via the E1 mechanism. So, these two are clearly telling you how the nature of the leaving group also helps you determine whether the reaction will be proceeding via the E1 or the E2 mechanism. Now, moving further, let us focus on the competition between elimination versus substitution. For many combination of substrates and nucleophiles or as bases, the substitution reactions may compete with elimination and may sometimes be the major reaction path. And this is because the same substrates also undergo substitution reaction. One may wonder that what factors are responsible for a reaction to proceed in either of these pathways. So, as you can see in these equations shown here, the tertiary butyl bromide leads to the formation of the tertiary butyl carbocation, and if you have OH minus or water which can attack as nucleophile, there is formation of tertiary butanol which is the substituted product. On the other hand, if there is a concentrated solution of NaOH, then the tertiary butyl carbocation will undergo further beta deprotonation by this OH minus, which now acts as the base, and there is formation of alkene, that is the eliminated product. So, the same substrate tertiary butyl bromide can go to substitution via SN1 or can lead to elimination via E1, and that is where you are having the competition between substitution and elimination coming. Now, how to decide whether the elimination will happen or substitution will happen as a predominant route? Careful observations have led to the conclusion that there are various conditions which are responsible for affecting the elimination over substitution in a substrate, and let us consider them one by one. These are the temperature, basicity of the nucleophile, the bulkiness of the nucleophile, and the nature of substrate as well as the nature of solvent. So, we will discuss these conditions one by one. First of all, let us consider the temperature. Now, from the thermodynamic study you already know that delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. Thus, for a favorable reaction, the delta G must be negative. As the entropy change, that is delta S, is more for elimination than for substitution, higher temperatures, that is T, will definitely favor the elimination reaction. And why the delta S is more for elimination than for substitution? Because in elimination 2 molecules become 3, while in substitution 2 molecules lead to only 2 new molecules. So, there is a higher entropy when you are having the elimination. Coming to the next factor, that is the basicity of the nucleophile. The basicity of the nucleophile is also very important, which has to be realized, that which path a reaction will proceed. If the nucleophile attacks at carbon, it will lead to substitution, whereas attack at the hydrogen, that is the proton abstraction, will lead to the elimination. Now, since strong bases are good at extracting protons, so it means that more basic the negatively charged or the nucleophilic species is, the more likely the elimination is going to replace the substitution reaction path. And here I would like to add that if you focus on the right side of the periodic table, along the same period, as you move from the right to the left, that is from F minus to the O minus, then N minus and C minus, the basicity as well as nucleophilicity increases. But as you go down in a group and as you proceed from top period to the lower, that is from upper part to the lower part, the nucleophilicity is increasing because of the larger size and the basicity decrease. That is, out of F minus, Cl minus, Br minus, I minus, the F minus is most basic and I minus is the most nucleophilic. So, if the species attacking is more base than a nucleophile, it will help the elimination. The next factor is the bulkiness of the nucleophile. It is harder for it that a bulky nucleophile, that is sterically hindered, to attack at a carbon, as it has to squeeze past other substituents in way. It has to attack in the interior. On the other hand, there is no such difficulty for it to attack a proton, because proton will be lying on the outside surface of the molecule. So, if bulkier bases are used, they will only act as bases and not act as nucleophiles. So, they will be preferring the elimination over the substitution, and out of these bulkier bases, the base like potassium tertiary is among the best to induce elimination on a substrate over the substitution. So, the general principle is sterically hindered bases are good proton abstractors, but they are poor nucleophiles. For example, as you can see in these equations, when you have the same substrate to start with, if you are using KOH, there is a substitution which happens, but if you take the potassium tertiary butoxide, then the elimination is the favored route. Coming to the fourth factor, which is the nature of substrate. In general, elimination is favored with an increase in branching of the carbon chain. This can be explained on the basis of stability of the resultant alkene due to hyperconjugation. Also, presence of appropriate stabilizing groups such as phenyl, vinyl, etc. favor elimination reaction over substitution, because the stabilization energy due to conjugation in the product. And coming to the last factor, that is the nature of solvent. A less polar solvent favors the elimination by E2 mechanism over the SN2. Also, use of aprotic solvents allows an increase in the base strength, as any solvent layer around the base is absent because of no hydrogen bonding. Let us now summarize what we have studied in this module. Dear students, we have studied about the E2 and E1 mechanisms and done the comparison and the various factors which will be favoring elimination over substitution. In an elimination reaction, a pair of atoms or group of atoms are removed or eliminated from a molecule, usually leading to an unsaturated product starting from a saturated product. But you can also start from unsaturated and lead to a, like you can start from double bond and get the triple bond. So, that also will be elimination. So, basically it is the removal of a pair of atoms or group of atoms from a molecule. We have also studied there are different types of eliminations, the alpha or the beta or the gamma and so on, and out of these the beta elimination is the most common, and it involves the loss of a leaving group and an electrophile from adjacent atoms in a substrate. This loss results in the formation of a pi bond. We also studied that usually there is a competition between elimination and substitution reaction pathways, since the substrate requirement is the same for both the competing reaction, because if you recall the first step of SN1 and E1 is same. So, the formed carbocation in the first step can undergo deprotonation to give you elimination, or the nucleophile can attack on the carbocation and give you the substituted product. Higher temperatures, bulky and strong bases, that is having less nucleophilicity, and a non-polar solvent will favor the elimination over the substitution. The even mechanism we have seen is a two-step reaction, wherein the first step is the ionization of the leaving group to give rise to a carbocation, and the second step is the elimination of hydrogen from the beta position. On the other hand, E2 mechanism is a concerted single step reaction, wherein the H and the leaving group from alpha and beta positions are lost simultaneously. An E2 mechanism requires that the leaving group and the hydrogen must be in the same plane, and they are anti-periplanar to each other. Whether a substrate will follow E1 or E2 mechanism is dependent upon the nature of substrate and the prevailing reaction conditions that we have studied in detail. Thank you.